Reducing algebraic fractions to their lowest term can be done in many ways. In this lesson, I will be showing you how to use algebraic factorization to reduce algebraic fractions to quadratic form to their lowest term. My name is Justice Johnson. I am from Lagos, Nigeria. You are welcome to my math channel, Math Fusions. This is a channel where you learn math the easy way. It is also the channel where we solve math problems that cuts across all other field of study. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. You can watch all our videos and also like, share, and leave a comment. Click the notification bell to get notified each time we release a video. Now, let us get into the lesson. In this lesson, we are taking this first example. We are to simplify c squared minus 5c plus 6 upon 2 minus 3c plus c squared. Now, since we already know we are going to apply factorization method here to simplify these algebraic expressions, all we have to do first is to put our equality sign. Then we introduce two brackets because the terms here must be put in two brackets. Okay, so we introduce our brackets, and then for the first two brackets we are going to factorize c squared minus 5c plus 6. Now, since we're having a c squared here, we are going to put the c here and put the c here. Then how do we get the other terms in the bracket? Here's what we are going to do. We take the first term, c squared, here it is, c squared, and multiply it with what? Plus 6. And in doing this, we are going to have plus 6c squared. What this means is that we are going to look for two numbers such that if we multiply them, it will give us plus 6c squared, and if we add or subtract, as the case may be, we are going to have minus what? 5c. So those numbers will be 2 and 3, or sometimes it can as well be 6 and 1. But let us try this to see. Okay, now the next thing we do is to come to the middle terms, which is minus. You can check the sign here, is minus. Okay, that minus goes to the big factor. In the first factor it is 3, in the second it is 6. Now the positive sign you see here tells you that the two values will be what? Will be the same. So which means if this sign is minus, here will be minus. If here is minus, here is going to be what? Minus. So of these two factors, you can see that minus 2 minus 3 will give us minus what? Minus 5. While minus 6 minus 1 will give us minus 7. So this is the wrong factor. We are going to choose this one instead. So what do? We come here, we put our minus 2 and we put our minus 3. It's that easy. Okay, now we come to the lower number and do the same thing. Okay, now since we are having a c, look at the position of the c. Is at the end of this equation, of this expression. So what we're going to do is to put our c here and put our c here. Then if we multiply c by plus c squared, you are going to have plus 2c squared. That is, if you multiply 2 and plus c squared, you are going to have plus 2c squared. Okay, now we are going to look for the two factors, and the factors are 2 and 1. Okay, because if you multiply 2 and 1, it gives us 2. Then we come to this place, the middle sign goes to the bigger factor, and the plus tells you the two signs should be the same. So if you check what we got at the middle, we have minus 2 minus 1. That will give us minus 3. So now what are we going to do? In this case, we are going to do it in a different fashion. Now you can see that we've already written out the c here. So this minus 2, we are going to put it as 2, and then the negative sign comes in there. Then here we are going to put the 1, and the minus sign comes in there. So that is how you go about this. Now the next thing we do is to check the two factors, the numbers at the top and the numbers at the bottom, to see if there is a common factor for us to cancel. Now if you check the first term here, you see c minus 2. If you check the middle, the second term here, we have 2 minus c. They are same numbers, only that the numbers in the second factor here is what is reversed. See, we have positive c. Here we have minus c. Here we have 2, which is positive 2. here we have minus 2. So which means the numbers are reversed. If we are to cancel this, therefore, we are going to put our what? Minus 1 here. So c minus 2 will cancel itself 1 and cancel 2 minus c minus 1 times. So the final answer to this question will become negative into bracket c minus what? 3, then all upon what? 1 minus c. There are other ways I can write this, okay, but let me leave out the answer this way. Okay, I can write it as also minus c upon minus c minus 3, then upon 1 minus c. So here you have it. That's the answer to this first question. Now let us take a second example very quickly. The second example is like this first one. The only difference is that we are going to approach it in a different way. Okay, now if you check out what we got here, over here we have x squared plus xy minus 6y. all right, and then here we have 2y squared plus xy minus 6y. Let us do the working here. Transfer this first value, x squared plus xy, then minus 6y squared. If you circle this first term and circle the last term, then we multiply both, we are going to have x squared times minus 6y squared, and that will give us what? Minus 6x squared y squared. Now what do we do with this? Okay, like we did before, we are going to look for two numbers that will can divide 6. We have 2 and 3, we have 6 and 1. Okay, each of these numbers will carry x and y. So we have x, y, xy, xy, or xy. The next is to consider the signs. The middle sign will go to the bigger factor, in this case plus, and in this case plus. And the minus here for the product tells you that the two signs will be different. So if here is plus, here will be what? Minus. If here is plus, here is going to be what? Minus. So the next thing for us to do is to simplify each factors and see which one will give us what? Plus x, y. So from what we have here now, this first one is going to give us, okay, here we're going to have plus, while here we're going to have minus, sorry, because this positive sign will go for the bigger factor. So the bigger factor in the first set of factors will be 3xy, which carries what? Positive sign. So if we simplify this, we are going to have what? Plus what? xy. And since we've gotten what we are looking for, we can cancel out this one, which means we do not need it. Okay, so in factorizing this, therefore, we are going to have x squared, then plus, we replace this plus xy by its factors, which is plus 3xy minus 2xy. Then the last term is what? Minus 6y squared. If we put the first two factors, two terms in a bracket and factorize, we have x squared. This is x power 1. We choose the lesser power, which is x power 1. Then if we divide x squared by x, is going to give us what? X. Then plus divide x 3xy by x. If we cancel out, we are going to have 3y as the first one. Now if you have factorized the first bracket, give a gap and transfer that value you got into the second bracket, because once you are using this algebraic factorization method to factorize algebraic quadratic expressions, this is how you go about it. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do is that we need a sign and a number to come in front of the second bracket. How do we do that? You can see that here we're having a negative sign, here we're having a positive sign, so here will become minus. Okay, minus plus is what? Minus. Okay, now if we divide 6 by 3, that will give us what? 2. And then finally, if you divide y squared by y, you will have what? Y. So in factorizing this, finally we are going to have x plus 3y, then x minus 2y. So this value we've gotten, we come here, put our equals to, introduce our 2 brackets for the numerator, and transfer this value here, which is what? X plus 3y, and then finally we have x minus what? 2y. Then we can rule this, and to factorize the denominator, we also do the same thing, put our brackets. Okay, now we'll follow the same method now. Now let us see how we can follow the same method here to do this. First, we'll write it out, 2y squared, then plus xy, then minus what? Minus x squared. If you take a look at this particular question, you are going to see that here we have 2y squared, and at the last part here, the last time we have minus x squared. Like we did before, we circle the first and the last term, including their signs, okay? And once we do this, we'll multiply both together. So 2y squared times minus yx squared will give us minus 2x squared y squared. So we are going to look for the values that if we that can divide 2. We know that 2 and 1 can divide 2, and each of them will carry the letters you see here, which is what? X and y. So we have xy, we have xy. Now the middle sign is positive. That goes to the large factor, which is 2xy, okay? And because of the negative sign of the product here, that means the two signs will be different. So if here is plus, the smaller factor will take a negative sign. So from this now, we are going to replace the middle term by this. This expression will now become 2y squared, then plus 2xy, then minus, instead of writing the 1, we can leave it out and put our xy, then finally our x squared come in there. So we can do this, okay, put the first two terms in brackets and factorize. 2 is common, we bring out 2. Y squared and y power 1, we bring out the y power 1. Then if we divide, 2 we cancel 2, y will go into y squared to give us 1 y. So here we have 2 we cancel 2, y will cancel y, we are left with what? X. Now automatically, we know we are going to have the same value, y plus x, in the second bracket. Then plus minus will give us what? Minus. If we divide x squared by x, we are going to have x. So if we do the final factorization, we are going to have y plus x, and then we are going to have 2y minus what? Minus x. So these two values, we're going to transfer them up here. So the first term here, we have first bracket y plus x, and then if you check 2y minus x, so we'll put it here, 2y minus x. All right, so now that we've succeeded in reducing these quadratic expressions in form of fractions, okay, into their respective factors, all we are going to do now is to look for common factors and we cancel out. Now if you check this x minus 2y, we have something similar to that here, which is 2y minus x. And if you check each term, in the first number here we have x, in the second number we have minus x, okay? And here we have minus 2y, here we have plus 2y. That means the numbers is reversed. So which means I can cancel this here and write 1, and also cancel this and put what? Negative 1. So this minus 1 is going to multiply everything here. So at the top here, I'm going to write the minus, then I'll put my bracket and introduce my x plus what? Plus 3y. Then this is our 3y. Then we do this, and then finally here we are going to have y plus x. So I can still write this as minus x plus 3y upon y plus x. And this is going to be the final answer to this question. I'm sure you enjoyed this lesson and that you would like to join me in my next lesson. We're still going to continue with this this topic, reducing algebraic fractions to its lowest terms. Stick with me in this channel and I will see you in my next lesson.